100,000 Films reports on the exploitation of women's vulnerabilities in power dynamics, a case study of political and social influence. In recent years, the balance of power in relationships has shifted in a way that has left men increasingly vulnerable to accusations, often leading to their incarceration or legal troubles. While the intention behind empowering women in abusive situations is just and necessary, there is growing concern that certain vulnerabilities of women are being exploited, allowing them to manipulate situations with disproportionate power over their male counterparts, particularly ex-partners. This report explores how this dynamic is impacted by political pressure, societal expectations, and the legal framework. Empowerment versus exploitation. The empowerment of women in domestic situations is rooted in the need to protect them from real threats of abuse. However, in some cases, this empowerment has inadvertently created opportunities for manipulation, where some individuals exploit the system to gain leverage in personal conflicts. The narrative surrounding domestic abuse and violence, while vital, sometimes overlooks the possibility of false accusations or exaggerated claims, often leaving men in precarious legal situations with little recourse. For example, imagine a scenario in which a woman and her ex-partner have recently ended a long-term relationship. Both parties have moved on, but tension remains, particularly around the custody of their children. The woman, sensing that her ex-partner is succeeding in his career and forming new relationships, feels insecure and begins making threats. She understands that even the mere suggestion of calling the police could be enough to trigger severe consequences for him, including potential arrest or being barred from seeing his children. This type of manipulation exploits the current legal framework, where accusations are taken seriously, rightly so, but can also be weaponized. The woman is not necessarily acting out of malice, but rather out of fear, insecurity, or desire to regain control. The power dynamics shift drastically when one party holds the ability to have the other legally restrained or even incarcerated with limited evidence. The man, in this case, finds himself walking on eggshells, constantly fearing that any disagreement or argument could escalate to a legal matter, regardless of its merit. Political pressure and the legal system. Political pressure has played a significant role in shaping how law enforcement and judicial systems handle cases of domestic disputes. Advocacy groups and public campaigns have rightfully focused on supporting victims of abuse, pushing for faster, more aggressive responses from authorities. However, this political climate can also create unintended consequences, as law enforcement may feel compelled to act swiftly in situations where due process and thorough investigation are critical. For instance, under current political pressures, police officers responding to a domestic disturbance call may feel obligated to take immediate action, such as arresting the man involved, even if the situation is more complex. This is exacerbated by public scrutiny, where authorities are often criticized for inaction in domestic cases. As a result, they may overcompensate by taking actions that disproportionately affect the accused, often men, without fully investigating the situation. A hypothetical example could involve a man who receives a threat from his ex-partner during a disagreement over child support. She threatens to call the police and claim that he has been violent. While no violence has occurred, the political pressure on the establishment ensures that when police arrive, they err on the side of caution and arrest him. The man now faces legal battles, court appearances, and even the potential loss of visitation rights with his children, all based on an accusation that may not have merit. The impact of social perception. Social perception plays a key role in reinforcing the imbalance of power in these situations. Society tends to sympathize with women in cases of domestic conflict, largely because of historical patterns of abuse. While this empathy is necessary, it can also cloud the objectivity required in legal processes. There is a widespread belief that men, by default, are the aggressors in domestic disputes, making it easier for accusations against them to be believed without scrutiny. In hypothetical terms, a man and his ex-partner have a minor argument over financial support for their children. She knows that in the current social climate, even a vague accusation of threatening behavior could severely damage his reputation and and standing. She makes the accusation, knowing that the public will likely side with her, regardless of the facts. The man, even if innocent, now faces a battle to clear his name, often with limited ability to defend himself effectively in the face of overwhelming social and legal bias. Conclusion: the power dynamics in relationships, particularly in post-relationship disputes, have shifted significantly due to political and social pressures. While the intention to empower and protect women is both necessary and important, the system can sometimes be exploited to unjustly target men, leading to arrests or legal action based on minimal evidence. This dynamic is further reinforced by the current political climate, where authorities may feel pressure to act swiftly, and by social perceptions that often paint men as default aggressors. It is critical to address these issues to ensure that both men and women are treated fairly in legal disputes, particularly in domestic matters. The aim should be a balanced approach where the vulnerabilities of both parties are considered, and legal actions are based on thorough investigations rather than immediate assumptions driven by societal or political pressures.